my goal for this session is so that you understand how far you can push these files from these iPhones today. We could just go in here, calibration section, and let's bring up that red primary. Really, just look at the difference. I mean, I have that red reflecting onto the ice here when you're taking landscape photographs. Remember, anything subtle can go a long way in post-production. But if it's flat, there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? Remember that. It's a very important thing to notice and to know when you are shooting in the field. Anything subtle. So if you have a tiny bit of light on a mountain, okay? Look at this. Look at this mountain. So there's a little bit of light on there. Before, look at how subtle that light is on that. Look at the reflection of that color. How subtle is that? That's really, really subtle. Something that most people overlook. Trust me, if that wasn't there, there was nothing I could do. But it's there. Because it's there, I'm going to show you how far we can take it. And again, this is a perfect example of why we want to be shooting raw. All right? So I'm going to show you what we can do. Look at this little bit of color in there. All right? So bring up that red primary saturation. And then go into the basic section, and I'm going to bring up the temperature. Let's see what looks good. I think it looks good. I'm going to bring up the tint just a little bit more to the magenta side, and I'm just going to leave that like that, like so. And that's looking pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the shadows, all right, because I like the way those trees look. I'm going to bring up the shadows, and again, look at that. Look at the detail we can get when we bring up the shadows. Could you do this if you didn't shoot RAW? Or could you even do this before, like a few years ago on iPhones? No, not as well as you can nowadays. And I mean, this is the iPhone 14 Pro. In your case, if you have the 16, it should even be, technically better because they're making the sensors even larger as we go. So, bring up the shadows, all right? And then what happened when I brought up the shadows is that it fixed my trees, but it also took a lot of that contrast out of that foreground. No problem. Add a mask. Linear gradient. There, just like that. And I'm just going to add my contrast back into my foreground, and I'm going to bring down the exposure. Just like that. Okay? And now I'm going to go into my tone curve section. And I'm going to really just work on the darks and the lights. I'm going to bring the darks down. I'm going to bring the lights down. And I'm going to make sure to go back up. Actually, no, we get rid of this. Let's just close that one. Okay. So now we're back in here. Now, one thing that I did here is, let's just have a look. So I brought up the contrast back in the foreground. Now it's looking a little bit flat. So we're going to do that same technique that we added before. So we're going to grab a radial gradient. I'm just going to go like that, something like this. The sun was coming from the right-hand side and something like that. I'm just going to bring up the exposure a little bit there, just like that. It's all about drama. It's all about the light. It's all about where the focus should be. It's not necessarily about color, but I'm going to show you what else we're going to do. But let's just have a look at this quickly, like that. Okay, I'm going to close this. And then always do this before and after. This is what we started with. This is where we are. This is where we are. Okay, and I'm going to do another radial gradient, and I'm just going to go around on my color where that beautiful color is reflecting onto the ice. I'm going to go there, and I'm just going to go and bring up that saturation in that area a little bit more. Just like that. Okay? Beautiful. Beautiful. Right? Now, let's see. This image could really use some vignetting. Let's see what vignetting can do here in the lens correction section. If you go to the manual and we add vignetting, let's see what we can do. Okay? Midpoint is going to come all the way in, I think. All the way in, just like that. And now amount is at 0. I'm going to slowly add that vignetting. Okay. Midpoint is going to be even further in. Just a little bit of that vignetting there. Just like that. And I'm going to revisit. I'm going to revisit my mask. This mask here. I'm going to give it a little bit more exposure. Not too much. I want a little bit more exposure. Just like that. Let's see what we started with. Let's see where we are. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that color reflecting on that ice. Right? That's gorgeous. Again, if you take this, let's go edit in Photoshop. And let's duplicate this. I'm just going to add a quick ornament for you guys. Duplicate the layer, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. This is ornament is something that used to be, it's a film day thing, okay? It's a long time ago. It's basically a blurred layer of your photograph on top of what you have with a lower opacity, all right? And also, I'm going to add levels on top of it and just bring in the highlights and bring in the shadows. Just like that, and then I'll bring the opacity down to like, I don't know, 10%, 11%. I'm gonna zoom in here to show you what that does, okay? Let's go 100%, okay? So before, after. Before, after. Look at the trees. I know with the compression of streaming, you're not gonna see as well, but it makes a huge difference, okay? Just like that, we have gone from something like this, right, to this. I would have no problem putting this in my portfolio. And it was shot with an iPhone 14 Pro at that. Not even the latest iPhone. So you guys should even be getting better results with your iPhone 16s and 15s and even the next ones.